English.
I'm not afraid to be a little bit loud and melodramatic and write excessive lines. That's, I think, where my conditioning from home kicks in.
Hi everyone, this is Silesh Ram, AsianCultureVulture.com. How are you doing? Just recently we got the chance to talk to Karishma Dev Dube, the writer and director of a film called Bittu. This was nominated for an Oscar, didn't quite make the final shortlist. It's a very powerful film about some children being accidentally poisoned and is based on a character called Bittu, a young girl. We're also going to be talking to Karishma about India Women Rising, which is a new initiative designed to get more Indian women directors. What do you think is really hitting people? I mean, the story itself obviously is very powerful, but there is something beyond just the subject, I think.
I think it's Rani, I think her face.
Sound of S.
You just trust her as your protagonist, and you let her lead you into situations that you kind of forget what you're anticipating, the violence that you're anticipating. So it feels as rude and invasive as it would to an 8-year-old girl who would experience it on that day.
English.
I'm very proud of her performance in the film because she's acted like no one's watching her. So it has this quality of like, it kind of jumps out of the narrative structure and feels almost like a documentary in very small moments. So you feel like you shouldn't be here with this kid, but you are. So it feels like an intimate doorway into this like very specific, distinct world that you kind of know as a Western audience, but you also don't. My sister Karishma Dev Dube, who shot it, she kind of did a beautiful job with the color palette too, which I think does a lot of subconscious work for an audience member. Like, we completely desaturated the image, and so the greens are not really greens, and the blues are not true blues, and the reds pop up in a very specific way, and it's almost like the place feels sick as well.
And how did the character Bittu come about? She's such an endearing presence, and you're immediately captured by her. So was it a character that you were developing in your head even before the story, or some that fitted the story?
I always imagined this little girl who was like a big person in a little body and beyond her years a little bit, and had like a very foul mouth and just wasn't afraid to speak her mind. I think a lot of both Bittu and Chand is sort of like an amalgamation of who and me and my sister were in boarding school. Right. My sister, who has produced this film and also shot it, Karishma Dube, was a lot more freer than I was, and could really take on authoritative figures a lot more. I grew into that watching her a little bit. So, but both of us had a particularly odd relationship with authority. Because I think 3 weeks into the process, I found Rani, and she was just electric, we had an instant connection. She's ran out of her little, community and walked up right up to me, and she's like, "What's up? You want to play?" Before even introducing herself. So she had this confidence about her that was very endearing. She was also, much like Bittu, completely unaware of gender norms. She was just amazing. So I just kept going back to her every day for the next 2 months, and started giving her some lines to learn, and she was great at that, and just basically from that point creating a sense of trust and memories that we could reference back to on set.
How did the Indian Women Rising collective, how they are now backing this film? How did that all come about?
Guneet Monga is this independent producer in India who had been in touch with me since we won the Student Academy Award, and I had already been fundraising for a couple of months with my 2 producers here in New York and in India, Shreya and Mary. And, we just had this idea of why not go to India to find that support as well. We didn't even know anyone there, to be honest, except Guneet. So it was she was the only one I knew. So I asked for a call to see what, if just to test the waters really, like if is there any potential. She has been wonderful and very supportive. So she had this pipeline dream of creating something like the collective where it's like an avenue of support really. I've been a product of institutional support, so I know the importance of it. And I also know how there's like a massive dearth of it in India. So I was really I love the idea, and I was very happy that Bittu was kind of like a catalyst for that to finally get this final push to come alive.
So